Welcome to our tutorial about cycle recording. Cubase lets you record audio with the cycle function turned on. That's this button here on the transport panel. It's also found in the toolbar button. It's purple when it's active. Cycle recording lets you make multiple takes and then afterwards pick the best one, or you can make a composite of the best parts of your takes. In this tutorial, we're going to learn how to use cycle recording and then listen to the takes. Let's stick with replacing my musette. I'm going to do a few takes. I need to loop these bars later when I'm editing the song, and it would be good to have a few different takes to vary my arrangement a little bit. First, we'll activate the cycle button on the transport panel or in the toolbar line. Now we need to set the left and right locators around the part that we want to cycle record. Let's do that now. I'm going to need to zoom in a little bit to position the cursor exactly where I want. I see that I've got the beginning of a phrase, so let me zoom in so I can drag my left locator before that phrase begins. And I give myself a little bit of room. Let's check the right locator position. Instead of punching in on this track, I'm going to create a new audio track from my new musette recording right now. That lets me listen to the stuff I recorded previously and add my new stuff and listen to it at the same time more easily. I add an audio track of the same configuration. Let's rename it Musette number 2. We arm it for recording. And let's enable the monitor button so we can hear it while we're playing. Let's make sure we've got the right inputs and outputs. Open the inspector. Microphone in and stereo out. Looks good. Level check. Let's mute the phrase that I'm going to be replacing on the previous take. Underneath the linear record modes on the transport panel are the cycle record modes. Again, if you don't see the record modes, right-click and make sure record mode is checked. There's a few options. For now, let me just actually drag up the panel so you can see. We're going to choose Mix for the time being, but we will review these in later tutorials. If you do want to start recording right at the left locator, make sure you can see your locators with a right click and make sure the locators are checked. Press on the L. This takes you to the left locator. When you're ready to record, press Record. We're going to cycle through a couple times. Each cycle is called a lap, so we're going to end up with 2 takes for this phrase. Here are my pre-clicks. Let's go in for our second lap. Cubase automatically loops around as soon as it reaches the right locator position. And we press stop when we're done. We've just recorded 2 different takes. Neither of these is great. I could have used a little more lead time at the beginning of my take. I didn't set my left locator back far enough. That would have given me a little more time to prepare for the recording. Ideally, I could have used at least a bar or 2 to help me prepare so that I wouldn't have jumped into the take's panic. Let's have a listen. Right-click on the take, select Set to Region, and we've got both of our takes listed here. We can select Take 1 to hear what we did first, or Take 2, that's the second take. Currently, Take 2 is checked. That means if we press play right now, we'll hear the last take we recorded. To hear the first one we did, select Take 1. Position the cursor and press play, or the spacebar. Oh, I've got my monitor on. Let's turn that off. Now I can hear it. And let's press stop. With the playback in progress, you can also select the second take so that you can switch real time. Press stop when we're done. There's a few other options in the Cycle Record drop-down menu. Some of those apply to MIDI and some of those apply to audio recording. The Mix option applies to MIDI. Overwrite will replace your previous file. Overwrite also works with MIDI recording. The Keep Last mode keeps whatever was recorded in the last complete lap. If you start playing a lap but you stop before it's done, Cubase won't keep that lap. This is a good mode to use when you want to record different takes until you get the perfect one. There are two types of stacked recording modes. We're going to be talking about stacked recording for audio tracks in our next tutorial. Stack 2 applies to MIDI recording only, and we'll be covering this later also. This concludes our tutorial about cycle recording to an audio track.